Hello, everyone. Welcome to tonight's live stream. I hope that you all are doing well. Today, I'm going to be taking a look at, let me turn this off actually. Hold on, sorry. I'm going to be taking a look at the astrology and giving you guys a little bit of a psychic forecast, an astrological forecast for the equinox. So I want to talk a little bit about the equinox first. Let me pull this up. Okay. I hope that you all are doing well. Okay. I'm here at the store. Tonight we have level 2 of the tarot training course. So I'm looking forward to that. But class starts at 7, and before we get into class, I want to talk about some of our planetary alignments for March of 2021. Hello, Ferris. Hello, Zale. Thank you for joining. So the equinox is quickly approaching. The sun moves into Aries March 20th or 21st this year. So Ostara, the witch's Sabbat or witch's Easter or the vernal equinox is what that day is called. It's a very high holy, important day. And for those of you who might not know, an equinox, okay, is essentially an equilibrium. So it's where night and day are equal. It's where light and dark are equal. It's where the forces of life and death come into balance. And many witches observe this Sabbat. It's very important to me, especially, but also to, my practice and the practices of many other people. So I wanted to kind of look at this astrology here to see what this specific equinox is going to have in store for us. So let's start first with these bullet points. So coming off of the full moon, February 26th, that was in Virgo. So that was our last full moon that we had. And also, as we move forward towards shifting into Ostara, the vernal equinox, Saturn will be barely more than a degree from Uranus. So the planet Saturn is the planet of obstacles and restrictions and boundaries. It rules life crises, and it's absolutely a very heavily shadow work focused planet. And then Uranus is the planet of change and revolution. So we have these two planets here in conjunction with our equinox, and Mars is going to be shifting into Gemini March 3rd. Okay, so it is the 17th today. It is St. Patrick's Day, so we already have some of that Martian influence in our 3rd house of communication already. And then Mercury has shifted into Pisces on March 15th. So this is the planet of communication and learning. It's the planet of the mind, and it's shifting into the 12th house. It's shifting into Pisces. So we are talking about psychic abilities, our intuition, our spiritual gifts, and also death as well. So having conversations or learning about those things is going to be of utmost importance during this time. The sun is going to shift into Aries March 21st. This year, it changes year to year, but this is actually what marks our Ostara, our vernal equinox, our spring equinox. So it's when the sun enters the 1st degree of Aries. And then also Venus is going to be in Aries. So for this particular Ostara, for this particular vernal equinox, we are dealing with the planet Venus. Venus as in the planet of love, the planet of infatuation, the planet of relationships. It rules Libra and Taurus. So this equinox especially will be affecting those with the sun, rising, or moon of Libra, Taurus, okay? And then Mercury is actually going to be squaring Mars March 23rd. And the sun will be conjuncting Mars March 26th. And our next full moon is going to be March 28th, and it will also be in Libra. So that is kind of our Cliff Notes version. I'm going to pull up like a full chart here as well. So let me go ahead and do that. Yeah, the equinox is a good time for that, Fairest. Hey, Crafton, thanks for joining. So I already talked about the specific astrological changes for the equinox, but I'm going to be pulling up a chart here. If you're just now joining and you missed what I said earlier, you can always go back and watch this live replay, okay? And you can see what I talked about, because it's a lot. It's a lot of very big things coming up. From that full moon, February 26th in Virgo, to the Saturn-Uranus kind of conjunction there, to Mars in Gemini and the new moon in Pisces, Mercury shifting into Pisces, the sun in Aries, aka Ostara, the spring equinox. The sun is also coming into conjunction with Venus, so if you're just now joining, definitely make sure that you go back and watch this live. So I pulled up our chart here. I'm gonna see if I can send a link of this chart into the chat. Let me see. I don't know if this will work or not. think that worked. So let's talk about this chart. So this chart is specifically for the vernal equinox. And if you're looking at this chart, I know that not all of us are astrologers, so I will try to speak a little bit here in layman's terms. So our equinox this year is mostly ruled from the DC to the AC, as opposed to the AC from the DC. So DC to AC means from the 7th house, 8th house, 9th house, 10th house, 11th house, and then 12th house. But we don't actually have much going on in that 12th house. Most of what we have here is going to be in the 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, and 11th. So this would be the house of Libra, Scorpio, Sagittarius, Capricorn, and Aquarius. These are the houses where we have the most planetary activity. So we have Jupiter and Saturn. We have blessings and curses. We have good fortune and misfortune, both in the 7th house of Aquarius. So this would be the 7th house, as in the house of relationships. And then we have quite the heavy house here with Mercury, Neptune, and we also have Pallas Athena. So Pallas Athena is our natural powers, our innate strength, kind of like our superpower, and that is coming up in Pisces in the 8th house, which means that for many witches, this equinox can give you, through the house of the occult, many psychic abilities and gifts. Also, talking about that with Mercury, the planet of communication, we are connecting to our gifts, communicating our gifts. And then with Neptune, we also are dreaming of these things as well. So then we have the Sun, Ceres Demeter, Venus, and Chiron in the 9th house. Okay, so the 9th house is the house of truth and travel. And that is a huge factor because the Sun is going to be in Aries on Ostara in the 9th house. So the 9th house, like I said, is the house of truth and travel. This Ostara, the spring equinox, the vernal equinox, is when the Sun enters the very first degree of Aries. So the house that Aries is going to be in is the 9th house, which means that this equinox is primarily going to be fueled by this Sagittarian house, this house of truth, this house of travel, whether that be astral travel or physical travel. This could be a good time for a vacation, or this could be a good time to get into some astral travel, but also truth. So like understanding what your truth is and connecting to your truth. I think that a lot of people are going to kind of be coming out of the woodwork to try to connect to the Sabbat. Ceres Demeter is what we are nurturing, and we are nurturing Aries in the 9th house. So we're also nurturing travel. We're also nurturing truth during this equinox. We do have Chiron here, which would speak to kind of some old wounds or some trauma that might also resurface during this equinox for many people. So if you feel like people might be a little bit on edge, that would likely be why. We have Lilith, and we have Uranus in the 10th house of Capricorn. So Capricorn is very much the 10th house here. This is like our house of work and occupation. That's the 10th house. But the zodiac is Taurus. So because we have Uranus here, we have massive change. So this means that many people during this equinox might be feeling a shift or a change in their occupation or in their career. Lilith represents power through pain. So, maybe struggling a little bit with financial means or struggling a little bit with career would be normal right now, because that's what we have going on with the equinox. And big changes for a lot of people in the aspect of work and career. Hi, Rhonda. Thanks for joining. I'm just going over the astrology for this spot. So that's going to lead us into our 11th house. So that's going to take us to our Mars and our Moon. And this is going to be in a Gemini. Okay. Oh, my phone's like yelling at me. Tell me it's dying. I only have a little bit left on here anyway. I have to get ready for class. But so our Mars sign and our Moon are both in Gemini. And Gemini is very much an air sign, very mutable, very communicative. It's in our 11th house. So the 11th house is the house of friend groups, social networking, politics. So we have our Moon here, so it's a very emotional time in those aspects. And we also have our Mars here. So please try to avoid disputes or arguments within your friend group, because the planetary factors of this equinox will be kind of pushing you to have maybe disagreements or arguments, because we have Mars here in the 11th house. So just something to kind of keep in mind. I hope that all of you have enjoyed this. I can't stay on here too long. Normally when I do a live, I go live for about an hour. But since we have class tonight, I can't stay on here too long. I just wanted to give you guys a little bit of an astrological breakdown for the upcoming Sabbat, Ostara. So if you're just now tuning in, feel free to watch the replay. And yeah, thank you guys. I'm going to get ready for our level 2 of our tarot training course here at the store. And until next time, blessed be.